Oh, look at that beautiful limestone mountain. It's where all this talus is coming from. This is why this is all limestone here, because it's all been weathered and eroded over the past however many hundreds of thousands of millions of years off that mountain over there. And that's some very old limestone too. That's probably Devonian, at least more than 400 million years ago. Most of the limestone in Nevada is very old limestone. Whereas if you go to like Texas, it's a little bit younger. It's Cretaceous in age. Anyway, a quick banger intro to Calochortus, wonderful genus with dozens upon dozens of species and subspecies in it. This, of course, is Calochortus flexuosus, the twining mariposa lily. But to show you the morphology, we'll get right up in there. And you see those little orange pads? If you look at those the spots on the petals where it's orange, those are the nectaries. That's what actually lures the pollinators in. And of course, the nectaries are right below the stamens. So when those little beetles and bugs and flies and what the shit got to go in there and get the nectaries, or get the nectar from the nectaries, they inadvertently have to brush against those stamens. Those stamens, of course, are the male part. They're coated with pollen granules, and the pollinators pick up those pollen granules and put them on their legs or their wings or whatever the shit. Okay, but before we get into the sexy parts, we'll do a quick banger intro on the floral parts. Of course, all flowers, not all, but most, have a calyx and corolla. Calyx is composed of the sepals, which in monocots normally occurs in multiples of 3. So you have 3 sepals. These shortened little fin-looking things, those are the sepals. You got calyx, sepals, corolla, petals. The corolla, of course, is these 3 petals, much wider than the sepals, and they basically, that's of course, again, they're in a multiple of 3. So you got the calyx, 3 sepals, corolla, 3 petals. Now with non-monocots, with dicotyledons, it's a little bit different in terms of numbers and how many petals and sepals you'll have. Some flowers have reduced sepals, some don't have them there at all. You get the general grasp of things, and you got to see what you're working with depending on what species, what family of plant. So anyway, you got the 3 sepals, 3 petals, then you got the 6 stamens, the 3 nectaries, those orange things. And if you could see on most Calochortus, they're kind of hairy almost. They got the little hairs that helps keep the nectar in there. Those hairs, of course, have the nectar all over them. And basically, again, it's just a gland that produces a sugary substance to lure in pollinators. And then the central part right there, that 3-lobed thing in the center, that, of course, is the stigma. That's the female part. The stigma is like the plant cervix. It's what basically receives the pollen. And then the ovary is what's located below that. Remember, you go stigma-style ovary. I guess on Calochortus, and I've never really thought about this before, but there's not really much of a style there. The style is normally just the rod that holds up the stigma. You don't have much of one there. It is there, but it's just reduced. It just kind of goes right from the stigma to the ovary. And then once that's pollinated, it matures. Let me see if I can find a maturing one. There you go. There's the ovary that's already been pollinated and matured. The petals and sepals have fallen off. The stigma's shriveled and become much reduced. It doesn't need to receive any more pollen anymore. And this carpel, this ovary, will eventually morph into a 3-lobed seed pod filled with dozens of seeds in them. And then, of course, they'll go on the ground, they'll blow around, disperse onto the ground, and then germinate many more Calochortus flexuosus, of which there are already dozens and dozens and dozens here. What a lovely genus.